and welcome back to the Rugby Connection podcast, the only fan podcast to get all the ins and outs from the rugby world. Well, what a weekend of rugby. Joining me once again, I like to say happy South African, but we'll get into it. Divan's back. Andy's not back his holiday yet, so he'll be back next week. But yeah, how are we getting on, mate?
Yeah, good. It's odd, don't usually support the Sharks, but obviously they made South African history in terms of rugby. And that trumps bit of rivalry between us because we are happy as a nation to finally get one of these under the belts. I thought it was a scintillating weekend of rugby. I thought the Champions Cup was outstanding. I thought the Challenge Cup was outstanding, even though it felt a bit more one-sided. I still think the atmosphere was absolutely insane. So very excited to get into the breakdown of it.
Yeah, wasting no time. Straight on the Friday night, Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the Challenge Cup final. Gloucester essentially defending the honour for the Northern Hemisphere. And these intruders called the Sharks come over from the south. And you know what? Fair play.
Yeah.
What a game.
I'm a Tottenham fan, so I'm just happy I've seen a trophy being left at the stadium. Yeah, fair enough. I know a lot of people has made that joke, but I just decided to double up on it. But on the game, absolutely scintillating performance by the Sharks, and obviously, this is not being a cocky South African because I don't support the Sharks, but like when some of those Safa boys got onto the field and they know they're playing for silverware. They are just a different animal. They are a different breed. And the scoreline flat as Gloucester because they were dominant in the first 10 minutes and then they got stomped. Literally, they got stomped. Obviously, they probably deserved a couple more points, which they got at the end, right? With that, like they scored a very nice try that was ruled offside with a big technicality. It's the correct call in the end, right? And the commentators even said it because it's like he scored the try, but he was in front of the kicker. You minus that couple of meters that it was in front, he probably doesn't get the ball right at the end. So overall, so happy with the Sharks, especially the Bok players, knowing we are about to play international rugby, knowing there's going to be a lot of Bok players from there. Vincent Koch, game of his life. Like he's never really been a carrier, but he was insane at the carry. His offloading was there. He had a 50-22 Oxen chair. Like the scrum was sensational.
Salads do not win scrums. Just remember that.
Exactly. Ebenezer try-saving tackle over the line. Absolutely brilliant. What's his name? Mapimpi looked like he was 24 again. Absolutely brilliant. Masuku once again. How many times do you have to mention the name? Like every single one of those Sharks players, they knew this is to save their season. That kind of is how it felt.
Yeah.
And they played that way. And it was a clinical, it almost felt like you could say it was the perfect performance by the Sharks for a final.
That's fair. I'm glad you mentioned Masuku because, come on, Rassi, get him in that team. Get him in the famous green and gold. We need it. We want it. Also, the one thing you didn't mention, and I'm actually gutted that you didn't. Pepsi Butalese's try. Scintillating stuff. Well done, big man. Go yourself. Love it.
I'm jumping the gun a bit, but who do you think would have been more gutted if they didn't score? Pepsi Buthelezi or Labelle didn't score, but he had all the field to throw that ball in. Pepsi Buthelezi had an open play inside him. At least he fell for the dummy. Like both of them should have been walk-in tries by just a single pass on the inside. I couldn't believe my eyes he threw the dummy, but it worked. He fooled him completely. But yeah, sensational. Breaking like three, 4 tackles, the speed, the dummy, everything.
Beautiful stuff. Love it.
Even Vincent Chuko. Massive game.
Oh, right. Just because I did post a video on it today or yesterday on TikTok. So I picked my Springbok team to take on Wales. And I know that you can't get Bull, Stormers, possibly Lions, but we'll get into that later. Like, especially Sharks and Japan players. Vincent Chuko is eligible, isn't he?
Yeah, he should be because the Sharks are out, right? So,
no, I meant for South Africa because people are like, "Oh, he's not South African."
He should be eligible.
He's been there a while.
I'm not too sure, but as far as I know, I haven't heard any news. I thought straight up this guy can play.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's why I didn't even think of it. I was like, yeah, have Vincent come off the bench, great impact, big debut. I'll love it. But some people in the comments, the know-it-alls, were like, "Oh no, he's not South African."
It's a weird thing. We'll probably get into what teams each of us will pick for South Africa to take on Wales, because I'm pretty sure we'll disagree on probably all of them, because as you just said, like, you would like to see Masuku there. We would like to see some boys maybe playing out of position, for instance.
Okay.
In terms of where they've trained before, like we heard on Chasing the Sun, Cheslin Colby trained as a 9. Like, for in case it happens, give him some game time in that 9 jersey.
Yeah.
But we'll get more into depth with that as time comes.
You want to do that now? Since we're on the topic? No?
It's too early. No, it's too early.
Okay, that's fine. But yeah, well done to the Sharks. History making, like Divan said. Just proper star-studded performance that we've actually been waiting on all year. How dare you wait till the final game? Well, essentially the final game to make it matter. Fair play that they did, but come on. If the Sharks did that all season, it'd be dangerous.
Yeah, I think they'll be scary next season. The issue is just like, do you keep Plumtree? I don't know. Like, you can't sack him after he's just won a title. Like, that would be unfair, but I think he's got like half a lifeline. Like, they can't have another season like they had this season. That would be absolutely embarrassing. So I think if they don't get off to a flyer next season and they lose, let's say, 3 or 4 from their first 5, he's gone. He's without a job. He's sacked. He's down in the ditches.
Fair enough. Anyway, plenty of rumours to go around for that for next season. On the main event, it's very early on the show for the main event, but here we go. Champions Cup final on a Saturday. The 10-star matches I've been calling it. Leinster going for 5. Toulouse going for number 6. 80 minutes was not enough. We kept it going, and Toulouse played to their strengths and got that 6-star. I don't think it's partial. I'm just going to get that out of the way now. There's people, I think this is just a general thing that you get every big game now, that the referee did this wrong, did that wrong. No, I completely disagree. I'm not a Leinster fan. I'm not a Toulouse fan. I thought Matthew Carroll did quite a good job, all things considering. High pressure environment. There was one call, I got why he got there, but I wouldn't have said that cost Leinster the game. The James Lowe yellow card, I feel like, I thought that was a bit harsh, but I was like, when they started explaining it, I was like, I can see why you got to that conclusion, but yeah, that's why I'm not a referee.
Yeah, sorry, man, I'm a bit distracted. Obviously, like, I spoke to Leinster yesterday, right?
Yeah.
And then he wasn't too harsh on Carly, because I tried to explain to him, like, obviously every ref makes mistakes, and obviously you've heard of Safas blaming the ref, and it's probably a fair narrative. Like, we do ref blame a lot. Sometimes it's fair in our opinion, sometimes it's not fair, and we just look for an excuse. But I thought, like, obviously he made a couple of mistakes, but the big calls he got correct. And the TMO was sensational. So the yellow card should have been a yellow card. The red card should have been a red card. Van der Vlier's try should have been a try. And they weren't bullshitting around any of it. Like,
no, I agree.
It was brilliant. I thought he tried to let the game go enough for a final. He let the big hits be big hits. No pity penalties. Oh, he slid up, yellow card, go to the bin for 10 minutes or anything. He's just like, it's rugby. You're going to get smacked every now and again. And that's what I love. It felt like we got some proper physicality that we want to see in rugby. We saw in that game. So I thought it was scintillating. Obviously, I haven't watched the Champions Cup as much as you guys in Europe have. But I think I've probably seen 3 or 4 of them. And this is by far the best final that I've seen.
That's fair.
Just like, for a low-scoring game in the first 80 minutes, it was scintillating. It felt like it still had everything. It was on a knife's edge the whole game. So, brilliant game of rugby. Both teams can be super proud. Yeah.
100%. I mean, hats off to Ross Byrne. I know he's been getting a lot of stick throughout the season, but to carry on playing injured, it did look like a bad hit. And he was just like, no, I'm carrying on. I want to get the points on the board for the boys. And it was great. Massive shout out to Leinster's defence. 2 moments in particular. Jamison Gibson Park, 90 seconds in, just doing enough to keep Anton Dupont's foot in touch, so it wasn't a try. Awesome. And then you mentioned it earlier, Jordan Larmer's try-saving tackle on Matthias Labelle. What an effort. Love that. But to lose Anton Dupont, proving that he is the best 9 in the world, nothing to take away from.
Glad you said the best 9 in the world, because the way that they were sucking him off, saying about 20 times in a game, the guy's the best player in the world. I mean, seriously, get over it. It's so boring. Like, I know he is probably on talent, the best player in the world. Kicks right foot, kicks left foot. He's like a prime flank with the way that he got 4 turnovers. He tackles amazingly, runs the ball. But I'm just like, stop saying he's the best player in the world and actually call the game. Like, he touches the ball, gives a good pass, instead of saying, wow, that's a brilliant pass. The best player in the world gives a good pass. I mean, seriously, it's so annoying. I mentioned this with the one with Leinster as well. It infuriates me. Like, I get it. You think he's the best in the world. And I probably agree that he is the best in the world, but you don't want to hear it all the time.
Yeah,
like,
I get you.
Seriously. But yeah, a couple of guys that really stood out for Toulouse. They were absolutely immense. And the same for Leinster. I think Andrew Porter had an absolutely massive game. Andrew Porter
was actually thinking that, I know it's interesting because there was obviously a team had to play bad enough to lose, but I don't feel like any player actually had a bad game apart from like Richie Arnold that was just on.
Came on and got a red, yeah.
Yeah, but the starting team will say, I don't think any of them had a bad game.
Yeah, and in my opinion, I thought James Lowe had a bad game. Like, he didn't have any. I wouldn't say a bad game, but he didn't have any impact in that game.
Not watching.
His boot wasn't there. Like, we never saw him kick the ball. The getting sent off as well. Like, it just felt like we were watching a game without James Lowe. Like, compare him to Jordan Larmer, who was everywhere. Jordan Larmer was literally everywhere over the park. But I still think Leinster can hold their heads high. I don't think it's a bottle job at all. But saying that, new rugby heritage has been made. It has been made. There's a couple of rugby heritage stuff that's going on, and it's the Stormers beating the Bulls. It's South Africa and New Zealand winning the World Cup. It is South Africa knocking out England in one of the final, semi-final or final. It's Ireland dropping off in a quarter-final, and it's Leinster losing a Champions Cup final. They've lost, 4 in 5? They've been runners up in
the last 3 in a row. Thing is, right, I've been thinking about this for a little while, but I've never said it out loud because I know what people will think. And I'm going to try and explain it. Is it time for Leo Cullen to go? And I don't mean that negatively. I know what he's done.
Before you answer, I've seen a bunch of people say it as well. You are not the only one, so now you can explain it. I just wanted to let you know you're not alone in this one.
Because, like, for what he's done for Leinster, remarkable. There will never be another Leo Cullen for Leinster rugby. But when you consistently fall at that final hurdle, and you've been there a long time, is it just like he's overstayed his welcome? I don't mean that negatively. I know that if he left, Leinster fans would praise him, like, thank you for everything, blah, blah, blah. I understand that. But it just feels like he's now overstaying his welcome, and it wouldn't hurt Leinster to get a new head coach as a new option.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
I know it sounds quite hard on Leo Cullen. It's not his fault.
It's like it's created the storyline of when he finally gets it over the line, it's going to be magic. You know that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, if he finally gets it.
Because I've also seen people already say, listen, Jock Nienaber has killed Leinster rugby. And I'm just like, what are you talking about? Like, you've got further than, you've literally gone further than you've gone the previous seasons because you've gone into extra time. Like, Jock Nienaber was there to give you another perspective. Instead of just attack, actually defend a bit, right? Yeah. And then, obviously, that could impact the attack again. So they need to find that balance in that team. But as I said, they didn't lose because they bottled it. Like, you could easily say against La Rochelle, they bottled it because they were so far in the lead, right? Yeah, I agree with that. But this game, they were chasing the game the whole way. They never had a dying attitude. They could have easily won this game if Frawley knocked over that drop goal. It just felt like Frawley had too much time on his hands and he overthought it a bit. But then saying that, Labelle should have scored as well. So
Yeah.
then the game would have been sorted there. So that just tells you, like, it was literally millimeters away from the game going either way, and it ended up in a draw. And
Yeah.
this is not one of the coaches' faults. It's just they got beat by the better team on the day, and
Sometimes it
that's
happens.
plain
Yeah.
plain and simple. I
Yeah.
thought the
Sometimes
atmosphere
it
was
happens.
absolutely beautiful. I thought the game was beautiful, and I still
Yeah.
think Leinster can hold their heads high, and now they can focus on the URC, something that they haven't won since the South African teams have been in it, and they could probably say, listen, for once we can play a full strength team going into the quarters, the semis, and the final.
Yeah.
We can
Go
actually
for it.
focus on this tournament again.
100%. I agree. One more player I want to shout out, just because kind of got carried away there. Birkinghorn. Oh my God. His move to Toulouse has, I wouldn't say revitalised, because he's never like gone to shit. But he is a fullback. He can kick off the tee. I know he wasn't 100% off the tee, but that last one that he missed was quite far out for him. But fantastic under the high ball. His attacking presence is there. His defensive effort, I didn't praise him on that when Dan Sheehan made that clean break. I thought that was a guaranteed try. But yeah, like, yes, as an Edinburgh fan, I'm gutted that Blair left. But it's Toulouse. Who's saying no to Toulouse? Who's saying no to practically guaranteed like knockout rugby in European stages on the grandest stage?
Yeah, and what makes it more impressive is we always have the debate about who's the best fullback in the world, right? And is it Hugo Keenan? Is it Tomo Ramos or whoever, right? Bowden Barrett, Damien Willemse, Willie Leroux,
Yeah,
whatever, right?
yeah.
Like you wouldn't necessarily think Blair Kinghorn. And we've always thought he's a good player, but you wouldn't
Fox
rank
just
him
went
up,
right up there.
and specifically focused on Tomo Ramos. He's keeping Tomo Ramos out of the picture, and he's
Yep.
not keeping him just out of the off the field. He's making that Tomo Ramos, when he comes on, he has to play fly off because he's not getting into that fullback jersey. That's
Well,
how good he's been. Look at the drop off in quality that there was just in the final.
yeah,
Like,
hair in the head.
it's not that
Commentated
Tomo
even
Ramos is a bad fullback or anything, but any form of mistake that he made was like Blair Kinghorn wouldn't do that. He wouldn't drop a ball over there. Would he have missed that kick? Would he have made that tackle? Like, that's just the impact that Blair Kinghorn has had, and it's truly commendable. Like, going in there saying, listen, I will outplay probably one of the top 3 fullbacks in the world, and I'll stick it to him and make that position mine.
100%. Just that stock has risen massively, and it actually feels good from a Scotland perspective, like internationally. That who's your fullback? Oh, Blair Kinghorn. All right, cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
could be dangerous. Could be a one to watch. Could be a threat. 100%. Love it. But yeah, well done to Toulouse. Star number 6. Did you see the Red Army in Toulouse partying? Oh,
No.
scintillating scenes. I've never seen that much red and black in my life. It's unreal.
Yeah, I haven't seen any of it. Like, as soon as the game finished, mans went out, just chilled. So
Yeah.
I haven't seen any of it. But obviously, who doesn't love rugby history being made? Like, them extending the lead to 6 stars, absolutely massive for them. So if they weren't out and about, I would be very disappointed. Like, celebrate these victories. Like, it's massive.
Yeah. Well, that's European rugby. Done and dusted
Yeah.
until next year. But the episode's not finished because there was more rugby, but we're just going to quickly rattle through it. Down to the Southern Hemisphere, where the South Africans left because they didn't want to play there anymore. No, I'm joking. Super Rugby, week 14. It was a all right week. Nothing. There was one surprise, but we'll get into that. So Friday morning for us, Chiefs, Hurricanes. Hurricanes just edging the Chiefs 20 points to 17. Canes nearly buggered that because they were 14-0 up. But
Yeah.
hey, one's a win, fair play. Brumbies versus the Rebels. Aye, aye, aye.
Yeah, we
50,
called this easy. I told you, like, we love a Australian derby because somehow it stays close. Obviously, there were 2, and none of them stayed close. But the Brumbies don't lose form in Australian derbies. Like, they have been the pinnacle of Australian rugby now for the past couple of seasons, and they just showcased that. They blew the Rebels out of the water.
Absolutely. I don't know if you can count this as an upset, but Moana Pacifica 27 points over the Waratahs, who only got the 12.
No, they played home, same as Fiji Drua. they've got the draw syndrome. So
them Tongans and all that. Crusaders, what the fuck? Beat the league leaders Blues 29-27. Now, if you said that the last 8-9 years, probably wouldn't be so surprised. This season makes no sense for the Crusaders. I don't get it. Can't wrap my head on it.
I told you this. They beat the Sharks as well. They beat the Chiefs as well. Like, that was their first victory, was the Chiefs, after they lost to the Waratahs and they lost to whoever and whoever. Like, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, that keeps their hopes alive for the top 8. Like, the Blues could have sealed the deal, but they didn't. Obviously, the Blues didn't play their full strength team, so let's not beat around the bush. But they also didn't play a very second string team. Like, they were still very much first team players, and then there were some second team players. Like, for instance, there was no Caleb Clark. But the Blues had dominance in this game. I couldn't believe my eyes that they actually went on and lost this game, because they were in quite a decent lead and then conceded 2 tries. So, yeah. But well done to the Crusaders. I mean, you count them down and out, but they will still be pushing to get into that playoff position. And when it matters, Rugby Heritage comes in and they can actually go and do it, because they are only 2 points off the draw, who's currently in that 8th position.
It's just, it's a tricky one. Sticking with teams just flying. They've solidified their space. So Reds, Queensland Reds, 59-13 over the Western Force. 9 tries. Tim Ryan, the Junkyard Dog. I love that nickname. That's so good.
Yeah.
Hat-trick hero. He's got to be in the Wallabies team, surely.
Yeah. Especially, I think Korobetti has retired, right? So that opens up a spot on the wing. I don't think they'll play Nawakanti Vasi. I can't see him playing a lot, because obviously he's switching over to rugby league next season.
And he's
Josh want a rebuild, so he's not going to play a guy that's only going to play one season, right?
I was thinking about this. The backline, not so much the forwards, because a lot of forwards are putting their hand up, but backline for the Wallabies right now, Joe Schmidt, if you're listening, give me a shout. Hey McDermott at 9.
Yeah, easy.
I'd edge it to Noah Lolosio.
Yeah, I agree.
Hunter Paisami in the 12.
Yeah.
But
Karevi will still be there, so you can easily go Karevi and then Paisami at outside centre, because he's played there a couple of times as well.
Yeah. Then you've got Darby Lancaster from the Rebels on one wing. You've got Tim Ryan on the other wing, and then you've got Andrew Kellaway. Andrew Kellaway's still a very solid player.
Yeah, Andrew Kellaway is probably the easiest pick of the lot. He's sensational at fullback. So, yeah, Ryan is probably the form winger at the moment. Like, I'm trying to think about who the other wingers are at the moment. Like, I'm not gonna lie, don't know all of the guys, but yeah, you could probably say that's fair enough. Especially if you take out Korobetti and you don't want to play Navakanti Vasi. So yeah, fair enough.
And final game, because they don't travel well. Fijian drew 3, Islanders 39. Ouch.
Yeah,
bro.
Very ouch.
And as it stands, there's only one place left. So Blues, Hurricanes, Brumbies, Chiefs, Reds, Highlanders, and Rebels are all confirmed for the playoffs. I still think it's bullshit that a 12-team league gets 8 to advance, but I digress. You've still got Fijian Drew hanging on in there, but they are 2 points behind, 2 points in front, of Western Force.
They're playing at home. They're not losing. They're going through.
And they're only 3 points off Moana Pacifica. Jesus, the Crusaders are going to suck their way in, aren't they?
No, they won't. No? Because Rebels have secured their spot. They might rotate a bit, right? And Drua are playing at home. And the Crusaders need the Drua to lose.
Let's not waste any more time then. Final round of the regular season Super Rugby, starting off with It could be a fun game. Crusaders versus Moana Pacifica. Crusaders.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Waratahs.
They'll know they need to win this game, so they'll do their job and hope for something else happening.
They will do some damage. Well, Australian Derby, Waratahs versus the Reds, and I can only see them. Yeah, 100%. Fiji and Drua, like you mentioned, versus the Rebels in Fiji, so we all know what that means. Fiji and Drua's getting a big win.
Yeah.
Which would get them in, like you just said. Hurricanes versus the Highlanders. That's all the New Zealand Derby. Hurricanes, it's got to be in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty easily.
Blues versus the Chiefs. That's going to be a fun game. Heavy hitting.
Yeah, I'll go with the Blues. The Blues in Auckland, they've been sensational. It's been blue damage. So yeah, they've rested their players. They want to, if I'm not mistaken, they'll want to secure that top spot, right? So they need to win this game against the Chiefs. So the Chiefs are secured in fourth, right? And we'll get to it in a second, but the Brumbies will most likely beat the Force as well, which means the Chiefs can't move up or down. So nothing really to play for. Blues.
Yeah, I'm with you. And for that last game as well, Blues, Brumbies, easy.
Yeah.
Done.
Correct. If you disagree, you're wrong.
Fair. Back over to the north, because we have got the final round this week in the URC. We don't need to go into the ins and outs. We know what's at stake. There is only 2 places left. Friday night, in my opinion, is kind of dead rubber across the board. Leinster versus Connacht. Leinster's going to be absolutely pissed, and they're in Dublin. So I'm sorry, Connacht, that you're the ones that have to suffer through that, because Leinster's going to get a big win. And Glasgow Warriors hosting Zebra. Woo.
Yeah. Connacht obviously can still win, can still go through if they actually get a win this game.
Yeah.
So they'll probably put up a bit of a fight. Will Leinster put out a full strength team? They probably don't expect the Bulls to lose, so they know they can't really get top spot. They're going to get overtaken by Glasgow, which means you get Stormers, Leinster quarterfinal. But I've still got Leinster to go into it.
Well, on to Saturday, Stormers versus the Lions. Now, if the Lions win, they're in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's in Cape Town, very windy. We know Marnie doesn't like wind, he doesn't like rain. But so the Lions don't either, right? And yes, the Lions attack is very good. The Stormers can concede points, but they have been defensively very good. But the Lions love conceding points against the Stormers. And we will want to place as high up as possible when it comes to this thing. We don't want to drop down and all of a sudden have to play Leinster in the quarterfinals. Like, obviously, if Leinster lose this game, we'll most likely play Leinster. But we don't want to go and play the Bulls at Loftus or whatever. So we'll do our best. I think both teams are scoring 4 tries.
Okay.
But obviously, back your team. I'm going Stormers to win. We've got a good record against them, so.
The next game. In my opinion, I'm trying not to sound biased. This game is the most important. This could change everything. Benetton versus Edinburgh. 7th versus 8th. There's already one Champions Cup spot gone because the Sharks won the Challenge Cup. That's just the rules.
Yeah.
We need to go out. We've shown what we could do against Munster. Let's just take a little bit and just fucking go for it. I know it won't be easy because I know Benetton at home love playing with some scintillating rugby, but like you said, back your team.
At least even if you lose, try and get at least 2 points out of it, right? Get in range of 7 and score your 4 tries, because then you can't get overtaken. Then you're safe. If you get two points from this game and the Lions and Connacht lose, then you're safe, because then Ospreys can't go over you. Because if Ospreys get 5 points from their game against Cardiff, they go above you in points, and they are sitting in 11th, right? And you don't want to stand that chance of that happening, because if it goes like we are planning on Lions losing and Connacht losing, Ospreys do have a chance.
Yeah,
They still do have a chance.
It's so tight. But yeah, back to your team as always. Edinburgh for the win and conforming
Also,
the playoffs.
I'll also back Edinburgh to get this one done. Like Benetton's good at home, but Edinburgh won't allow it to happen to them. They've worked too hard against Munster to get themselves in a position where they can actually still make it. So yeah.
Fair. Well, Starby doesn't mean hellish much apart from pride, but Scarlets versus the Dragons. Scarlets. Although I do like how they're doing it because it is Judgment Day. It is at the Principality both games, so that's fun. But yeah, Scarlets for the win.
Yeah, I agree.
Couldn't care less, could you?
Smart.
Back over to South Africa though. Sharks hosting the Bulls. It would be so helpful if the Sharks did the job because I don't want to go to Loftus. I don't want to put in all this hard work. Be like, well, hey, your reward is Loftus. Good for you.
Yeah, the Bulls know they've got top position to play for. They'll go full strength. The Sharks are still probably drunk somewhere in London. So, yeah, they're not fielding their full strength team. Even if they did, they're not traveling from England to South Africa and playing the Bulls, who's been here the whole time and winning that game. So the Bulls will dominate this game and they will secure their top spot.
Believe in miracles. Come on the shirt. No, it's got to be the Bulls.
Yeah. Don't get too ahead of yourself.
Munster versus Ulster. It's going to be tasty. It's going to be physical, but Munster.
Yeah, especially after last weekend.
Yeah, all the confidence in the world.
Munster still got it. They still have too much on the line. So Munster will want to, because obviously Munster can secure top place as well, right? So
much up for stake.
If they get a win, they've done it. So that's their focus will just be on let's win this game, secure ourselves home, all the finals.
Yeah. Final game of the regular season of the URC back in Wales, Cardiff versus Ospreys. Low key, that could be a very fun game.
Could be. Cardiff nothing to play for. Ospreys everything to play for. They know if Edinburgh or Benetton slip up, it's their opportunity. So, yeah, final bit of hope. Depends on what happens before that. If they see they still have a chance to get into the final, they're gonna do it. And if they see there's nothing to play for, they will lose. But they won't lose badly. They'll struggle against Cardiff. It's kind of just a mentality thing.
Yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. Well, we have got 2 more games to predict because Premiership semi-final start this Friday night. Northampton Saints versus Saracens at Franklin's Gardens. Oh, what a game this is going to be.
Yeah.
And it's stacked across the board.
This game just reeks of Owen Farrell masterclass. Like everyone, I wouldn't say everyone is writing off Saracens with the way that Saints have been playing, and I'm just gonna follow my heart and say Saints deserve to be where they are, and I'm gonna back Saints. Obviously, Saracens have been there, done it so many times, but I just want to back Saints, so I'm gonna back him.
You know my rule. I like Saracens. I want Saracens to do well. They have good players. That's the annoying part. But Saints have been top of the table all season. They have done so well to get back to where they should. Realistically, that's where Northampton Saints should be. There or thereabouts in that top 4, getting to a final, pushing for. They've not won a title in a few years, but it would be nice. Yeah, Saints, Coney Laws.
They deserve it. I fully agree with you. Like we just want to give it to a team that deserves it. The way they even went out of the Champions Cup fighting the whole time. Give it to them.
Yeah. And it's Coney Laws' last game at Franklin's Gardens. No, you're crying.
Yeah, I don't even know.
I know shit. You made me look stupid. It's fine. On to the Saturday. Bath at the Wreck versus Sale Sharks. Ben Russell versus George Ford. Aye. Oh.
Yeah. Finn Russell's better than George Ford, but I've told you before, I've got loyalties
No, you
towards
don't. You're
Sale.
no. Time out, time out. I'm not name dropping anyone, but you are not a Sale Sharks fan. You like someone
I'm
that
I'm forced to be a Sale Sharks fan, and as you
yeah,
say, back your team. And I'm
it's not
way
your
more of a
team.
Sale Sharks fan than I'm a Bath fan because there's a bunch of Saffas in that Sale team. I like the Dupreas. I will
There's
back the Dupreas.
no, there's one, two. Never mind. I was going to say there's a few South Africans and
John Luke and Rob, and I'm pretty sure I'm missing someone else that I don't even care about. But yeah, there's Saffas in there, so I'll back the boys.
the boys. Well,
And listen, you also have to commend Sale to actually get that victory over Sale, over Saracens. I
that's you
told
did
you,
100%.
and you have to give it to them. That was a proper performance. That was as clinical and as controlled as it gets. I want to back Sale. It's my Prem team, even though I didn't choose it.
It's
It's
got
my
gun.
Prem team.
Yeah.
So just with the nice storyline because they didn't look like they're going to make playoffs
No,
mid-season,
they
right?
went on a mad run in March. I believe they left it really late to go on a mad one, but unfortunately, I will be the villain on this episode. I do think this is where the fairy tale ends. I think Bath have struggled for a good few seasons, and they're such a historical club that again, like Saints, should be in that top four, should be in title contention. You've got the best 10 in the world. I know I said it last week. I'm just starting the pod, don't worry. You've got the Maverick, and like you said, with your reason for backing the Sale Sharks with all the South African contingent, we've got Scottish players down in Bath. So back to the boys.
Yeah,
Bath,
obviously I've got a Sapphire in Bath as well with Thomas Doy.
there you go.
So
See, come over to the good side. And we've got half of your South Africans as well, Scotland. So come on over. Feels good in here.
no, I'm okay. I don't support traitors because at least John Luke and Rob and Thomas the Toy doesn't play for another country.
Not yet. Wait.
Well, Thomas the Toy can't because he's played so many caps for us. He's literally played like what's it, less than a year ago for us. So he'll
I know.
stay in.
I know. Unless he just keeps going until he's like 45. Who knows?
Oh, and John Luke as well. John Luke ran out against the All Blacks. So yeah.
Yeah. We'll get Rob. It's fine.
Rob might play for England. So who
No,
knows?
no. But yeah, I predict a Saints Bath final. Finn versus Finn at Twickenham. There you go.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair
Any
enough.
news just before we quickly round off?
Obviously Jasper Wiese banned for. Did we talk about that? No, that's old news now.
6 week ban. I felt that was a bit
Yeah.
harsh. I know, like, I'm an extra Chiefs fan, and I watched it, and yeah, he's going to get sent off. I
No,
thought,
listen, they're acting like he turned into the Undertaker and picked the guy up and absolutely tombstoned him into the ground.
he just pushed
Like
his head in. It's fine.
he literally took him like it's your bag, your luggage bag at the airport. Just picked him up and put him down. It's not like he threw the guy neck first or whatever. And if you look at it, wherever he threw down, Wimp didn't even try and block the fall. Like the guy was just like, I'm gonna milk this, like
Yep.
head first. Like he could have just easily stuck out his arms. Like there was no intent in it. Like seriously, zero intent for it to be. Initially, when I looked at it, I was like, that's not even a penalty. But okay, fair enough. I can see how it is a penalty, probably a yellow card as well if you want to. Never a red, never
No.
a red, and never a 6 month ban. Obviously, you got a red, so it's either going to be rescinded or he's going to get the lowest punishment. And they didn't want to make a fool out of the ref, so they decided let's give him the minimum ban. But he should never be banned because now he's out for the Irish tests and he's out for rugby championship games as well.
Well, sorry, just because you mentioned the Irish test. Hugo Keenan, way back to the Seventh Circuit. He's chasing the gold. I like it. I'm not against it. Fair play.
Yeah,
Kevin's a tricky one because Team GB, and I'm not trying to sound horrible, don't have much hope, really.
no, the only reason that I'm against it, right, is not because it's 15-man guys going to sevens. I know he's played sevens before,
Yeah.
but that kind of takes away from what some of the sevens players have been working for their whole life.
Yeah,
Like
we
I
just
get it, it's Antoine Dupont in sevens, right? Right. I enjoy seeing it as well. Like I understand the fans' perspective on it,
Yeah.
but it just feels like
I
it's
know what you're
taking a
saying.
bit away from someone who's been working hard to get them there. Like, let's say he has to go. Ireland just placed second in the World Series in sevens, right? Just after Argentina.
Yep.
And you're going to tell me you have to drop someone out of that team because I want to get in Hugo Keenan, someone that has put them in that second position. Because obviously each player matters in sevens. It's not a big squad where you just have a guy that just trains with them. Like, everyone in the squad plays. So I just think it takes away a bit from those guys. And don't get the Safa started on getting sevens players again, because then we'll just send Kwagga Smith and Werner Kok, who's literally been sevens Euros and they've turned into 15-man players. We'll just send them back because that was prime Blitzbokke. Well, we're shit now. I wouldn't say shit.
Take Sinatra.
Hey?
Sabola Sinatra. There you go.
Yeah. And he's got a good recovery at the moment. So we heard some good news that he's actually coming back. So when he had the injury that they said he would never come back from.
There we go. We'll always love to hear that. I mean, if you really wanted to go for it and bring back sevens players, you could bring back Justin Colby.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, bro. Like, don't start with this. We'll bring in 15-man players into the sevens game again, because we won't hesitate to bring in a couple of absolute monsters.
I think who we would bring, like hypothetically, who's Scotland could draft in Hamish Watson.
Darcy Graham will be a good shout.
Darcy Graham's been on the sevens. That's how he started.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily say Tuan van der Merwe, but Darcy Graham is a brilliant shout for that. Blakey Horn could be good. Finn Russell wouldn't do it. Like, let's be real.
Finn's not
sevens built
for sevens, yeah.
Yeah, no, he's not built for sevens. Jamie Ritchie.
Jamie Ritchie would be great at sevens. Proper work, but yeah, I like that. I don't know. It doesn't matter because we're all.
Imagine your three forwards in sevens, the Safas being Werner Kok, Kwagga Smith, and Pieter Steff to tackle.
No, thank you. No, I'm good. I'd just be fine. Fuck that. I suppose Bowden Barrett not getting allowed to play for the Blues is a bit of news.
It's probably fair enough. He hasn't been there all season, and now you want to come back for the playoffs. If he came back, let's say 3 weekends earlier, played a couple of games to actually get them in a position, it's fair enough. I agree with it. Like, that's the risk you run with these money contracts. I don't blame him for taking that contract, but he can't blame them for not being allowed to play.
So, question, because Ardy Surveyor's been pictured, back at the Hurricanes. Does he get to play or no?
No, because it wasn't the Blues rules that was made. I think it was New Zealand Rugby that said he can't play.
Yeah, New Zealand Rugby steps, and I went, yeah, no, Bowden can't play.
Yeah, so the same rule goes for Ardy Surveyor, because he hasn't played a game for the Hurricanes either.
I suppose this weekend, but again, that would rub so many people the wrong way.
Yeah, it's just a bit unfair. You can't say Bodie you can't play, Ardy you can.
We did this a few years ago, was it not? Brodie Retallick got to come back from his sabbatical in Japan, straight to the All Blacks, but Damien McKenzie had to stay in Japan. He wasn't allowed back. How does that work? Somebody justify that.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. It's corrupt.
Just let the players play where they want. Doesn't matter if it's in the country or not. Just let them go and play. If they're on form, call them up.
Yeah, it's probably just to the same with the sevens thing. It's probably just to say the same. Listen, you've got us into this position. Don't go. Why would you go and drop a guy that got you into that position? Like, there's a massive debate around the Currie Cup in South Africa. Now, obviously, you guys don't watch the Currie Cup because I think it's just broadcasted here because it's our local tournament, but it's still your sevens and your Bulls players. But it's mostly guys that are on the fringes. Like, you've never seen them really play for the Stormers, maybe come from the bench once or twice. But then the big teams like the Bulls and the Stormers and the Lions would get into a quarterfinal or semi-final, and then all of a sudden drop the guys that got them there and feel that I know it's a much stronger team, but that's not really that tournament's made for, because they're playing against the likes of the Pumas and the Cheetahs and whoever else. I can't even, the Griquas or whatever. They're playing against those teams. They're playing against those boys who that's their only tournament that they play in. And just to make it fair, keep the guys that they've been playing against the whole time. Like winning the Currie Cup doesn't mean a lot more. Obviously, we would like it to be bigger and stuff, but chill out. Keep it your guys on the fringes, because then you see the likes of the Pumas, like the Bulls buy a lot of the Pumas players. So it's like that's where Devin Williams came through, even though he's a bit older. That's where Tiernis de Bruin has now come through. Sebastian de Klerk has come through. Like all three of them two of them has gone to the Bulls and one's gone to Cardiff. But that tournament, the Currie Cup, is where you see the youngsters shine through. Who's going to be the future? You don't want to put them up against Evan Roos playing or whatever. Like, relax. Have those guys play it out. And it's more fun watching that because you've got guys that just want to prove themselves.
Yeah, I agree. That's fair. Well, we'll leave it on that. We'll be back next week. I think there might be the three of us. Who knows? You'll see it when it happens. But we've got URC final round, Premiership semi-finals, Super Rugby final round, and more rugby news. And until then, Rugby Connection podcast. We're on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell on both channels over on Casual Bias Rugby as well. Speaking of which, we're on TikTok. RCP, Casual Bias Rugby, which is Divan, Whisper Rugby, which is myself. We're on Instagram, we're on LinkedIn, Spotify, you name it. Think of a social media platform and that's where we are. But Devin, always a joy, mate.
Yep. Cheers.
We'll see you next time.